Hey everybody, and welcome back to another Edu Launch Party by EduMatch Publishing. I am so excited for my friend Jeff Kubiak today. He has another amazing book that is launching, and it is titled It's Me. And you are probably, because everybody is, aware of his book, One Drop of Kindness, which is a phenomenal book. And just with World Kindness Day, perfect title as well. So we're so happy to have you here, Jeff. Why don't you tell any listeners who may not be familiar with you? I can't believe there would be anybody out there like that, but who may not be, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Thanks, Mandy, and thanks EduMatch and Sarah and Mandy for allowing me the opportunity. So blessed to be connected with you guys and helping me bring stories to life. So as Mandy said, I'm Jeff. I'm an educator in Northern California. Also an author and a speaker and a father to two great kids, a husband to an amazing wife, Piper, and in the greater Northern California area near Sacramento, a town called Davis, and been in education about 20 years. And through some of my trials and tribulations and what I've seen in classrooms and schools, I decided blogging and writing and then trying to bring a positive message to help shape the world in a better way. So
yeah, and it definitely does. And I'm a big fan of It's Me, obviously, but One Drop of Kindness has been one of my favorite books, of the many of my favorite books that we have through EduMatch Publishing. But was it the first children's book that we had, or one of the? No, it was the
second. Yes.
Yeah. And it's such a learning experience for us at EduMatch, as well as just bringing your characters to life and seeing them in print. And that's just so exciting. So I'm really glad that you're here. I'm glad that we get to launch another amazing book. And we're just going to jump right into it because you have so many people already knocking at your party door that we want to make sure that we get everybody in here.
That's awesome.
So we're going to start out with, what gave you the idea to write It's Me?
Well, especially in today's world with, the social unrest and civil unrest and racism and all these different internal and external battles we have, these issues carry on right to our schools, right? And when we have individuals and subgroups that are marginalized and oppressed, it needs more of a conversation starter to bring awareness and vision to these subgroups. And I've had the honor of teaching and being an educator around amazing students and teachers and educators. And for me, just to have a conversation starter to bring more awareness and empowerment to some of these groups was just something that I feel we have to make more of the norm in our schools and in our world, actually.
Yeah. And I love how you said conversation starter, because right now we have sort of this outcry from teachers in the last 6 months for sure, where they're saying, we don't know how to start the conversation. Like, nobody's telling us how to do this in the right way. And so I love how this can absolutely be that conversation starter that you're looking for in your classroom.
Yeah, and I think, as a former teacher and as an educator and just, a person who's, messed up so many times in my life and tried to reflect and grow, we just have to do it. We just have to take a risk and put it out there. You want to word it and bring it into an empathetic and a kind way, but we just have to take a chance and talk about Black history, talk about slavery, talk about LGBTQI. We just have to. And it's going to be uncomfortable for a lot, right? But what isn't anymore? And so our world is evolving exponentially. And we have to make these conversations part of our day.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. I love that. And you started to address this a little bit, but It's Me really addresses the potential experiences of marginalized groups. And you kind of said this too, like, some may call this book risky. How do you respond to those types of comments?
Well, I think without risk, there's no reward. And everyone's failed so many times, but if we don't take risks, especially when it comes to some of our most amazing groups, subgroups, and individuals, then we're not doing whatever we can to bring civility up to where it should be, right? And one of our stars of the books, Mia, just said, read banned books. And why are books banned? You know, literature brings everything to life. And for us to be able to take those risks, you know, now I'm just super excited because there are people in this book, well, everyone's real in this book, but that have been afraid to share their stories, or afraid to raise their hands, or afraid to speak out. And that's not what school and life's about, right? So
right.
Yeah.
And I've been listening so hard to you that I've been forgetting our comments here because I'm so interested in what you have to say. And Melody says it's risky because of people who want to continue oppression. Yeah, agreed. And you know, those are the people who sort of perpetuate the issues that you're trying to bring forth in this book.
Totally.
Expedition.
That's Becky Snexker. She's
Becky.
an amazing scientific teacher and author and person. And
that is awesome. Says, thank you for bringing these conversations to life and making them accessible to audience of all ages. So
and one thing, sorry to interrupt, Mandy, I wanted to bring up is that, you know, and not to politicize this whole thing, but, you know, our country's divided, right? 75 million, 70 million. And obviously there's unrest, disagreement, and things going on, and that's fine. But we have to do it with the power of ridding our labels and ridding our biases and doing these different things. And so now is more important than ever. And look at Desmond Hasty. If a conversation were to be had, 2020 is the time in the year. And that's fantastic. That's perfect. And, you know, another amazing Black male educator, and we have some represented in the book. And we have to, because it's the only way we are going to move forward to continue being the best nation in the world, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, well, so one of your friends is absolutely pounding at the door, and she's like been trying to look in the peephole the opposite way, and like all those things that people do when they try to get in the party. And this person, I'm so excited to talk to her. She is actually your illustrator, and you have some of the best lineup of people coming on that I'm so excited to talk to. And so Brianna is definitely one of those people. And so I'm going to add Brianna to the stream and let her in here.
Awesome.
Yay, this is Brianna Altpeter. So she is the illustrator for It's Me. How are you, Brianna?
I'm great, thanks. How are you?
Very good, thank you. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
I'm 18 years old. I live in Ontario, Canada, and I like to do a lot of digital art, play video games, and I also highly believe in the message of this book, inequality.
That's awesome. So, first of all, the illustrations are beautiful in this book. I love the colors. I love the way that the characters are represented, and just you know, the way that they are visually appealing in the way that it's drawn. Tell us a little bit about the process that you go through for this.
Okay, so I started every sketch on paper originally, and I'd plan out poses, and my color palette I just kind of have in my head. And from there, I transfer the sketch to my PC, and then I go over it and do another sketch. Then I do the flat colors, which are basically just the colors without the shading or highlights or anything. And then after that, I go in and do the shading.
Okay, and then it's just, so then it's all done on your computer after kind of that first round, is that right? And so then were you sending? Now, so one of the things, I don't know if you noticed, or if you said this, Jeff, but the characters are actually real people in the book. And so did you have pictures of those people when you were creating the characters?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah?
Yeah, so what Brianna and I did is, if I didn't have a photograph, it was kind of in my head, and then we talked about it, we FaceTimed about it, and went back and forth. And so the way I got connected to Brianna was through her mother. Her mother is an amazing elementary school teacher, Melanie Korach. And I started seeing sketches and pictures and things that Brianna was doing. I was like, oh my gosh, she'd be perfect for the book. And so super cool. And so she and I got to build a relationship and really kind of started to understand the theme. And she had never done a book, and we worked together and tried things out. And I'm so blessed and grateful the way it turns out, because she's a star in the making, and I'm just super excited to have worked with her. So it was a great process.
That is awesome. So Brianna, so this is your first book then. How did it feel did you get to see it in person yet?
I haven't seen it yet. I'm seeing it soon, but I'm quite excited.
Yeah, it'll be amazing to hold it for the first time. And
yeah, for sure.
Yeah, look at,
Oh.
Yeah, the illustrations are beautiful.
And the neat thing too about the work that she did is, I don't know anything about art or illustrations, but it took her so many iterations at times. And, she was patient and she really took, I'm a 55-year-old guy that has done a lot of different things, and she's still this amazing to be woman. And she took feedback and positive criticism, and then even asked me questions. And it was really amazing that this 18-year-old girl is now an illustrator in a published book for the world to start seeing some of her work. And, she's continuing with the university and doing things. And it's been an honor to work with her. I'm so proud of you, Brianna.
It's been an honor to work with you too.
Oh, thank you.
Brianna, what are you studying at university?
I'm in game art, so I'm doing like modeling, animation, stuff like that.
Wow, very cool. That is amazing. Well, this will be a fantastic way to build your portfolio as well. Maybe something you could do as like a side gig.
Yeah.
Do children's books. Yeah, that's awesome. Well, it has been such a pleasure having you on here. Thank you so much for joining us. I really appreciate you.
Well, one more quickie. So anyone looking for any kind of cool illustrations, Brianna does amazing animals too. And now she's got a whole new genre with humans and things. But feel free to reach out, because she's going to be someone who's a rising star, and check out her work, my friends.
Thank you.
Yeah, another couple years and we'll be begging her to do books for us. We'll be like,
exactly.
Please find time for us. Well, it's such a pleasure having you on, Brianna. Thank you so much for your hard work on the book. It looks amazing.
Thanks, Brady.
Thank you.
That was awesome.
I know, I love her. Okay. So we're going to go back to the book just for one more question. And then we have another person who's still waiting in line for your party, which I'm again, so excited about your guest today. And so I just wanted to kind of dig in. How did you develop it? And it develops kind of a weird word because all your characters are real, but how did you pick the people that are in the book? How did you come up with that idea?
So, anytime you've been in schools, I've been in schools, anytime you go to the grocery store, the market, the Costco, a school, whatever it is, if you actually take the time to see and look at people, it's just the uniqueness of individuals is overwhelming and astounding and beautiful, right? And so you see these students and you start to see these educators and different people. And once you start to understand and know their story and really see them, you figure out that, this person might not have had advantages, or boy, this person sure has been served a lot of white privilege, or look how oppressed this child is and they don't even know it, right? Mm-hmm. And so, there could have been 100 more characters, because we have so many unique people that haven't been empowered or mm-hmm. have been really kind of pushed to the side and ignored. And we have so many different gender identities coming to face, and mm-hmm. with the huge empowerment of Black Lives Matter, it kills me that they have to matter. And mm-hmm. People say, oh, all lives matter, but like Black ones never have. So can't we turn it around and acknowledge the amazing things that our Black community has to offer, mm-hmm. and then start moving that way? And then LGBTQI, right? And we have to acknowledge the identity that people feel are and want to be, and, mm-hmm. and get up the whole label thing, right? We don't want to be defined by that, but maybe use it as something that makes us special or unique.
Mhm.
So, I just started connecting with different people I have been working with. And then, of course, some of the characters, Basil, who's one of the most amazing educators in the world, and Mia, who I can't wait to talk to and introduce you
Mhm.
guys as, and just, they kind of popped out of my head. And I've already had thinking like, oh my gosh, I could add this one and this one and this one now. So.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah, you definitely have just a wide array. Oops, my office lights just went off. I'm going to be dark until I can get up and dance, which is going to be weird and not going to be done on camera. But yeah, it's really that idea of celebrating our differences instead of figuring out why it's so bad that we're different. I think is kind of what I get out of the book, and making sure that we are not only, I think one of the areas that I fell into prior to this is feeling like just because I loved everybody, that was enough. And that's why Black Lives Matter is important, is to understand that that's actually not enough. You do have to still raise people up and intentionally be intentional about that. And so I just love the book, and I'm super excited to have Mia on. And Melody says she just placed her order. Oh, and she's following you on Amazon as an author.
Awesome. Thank you, Melody.
Cool. All right. Yeah, so we get to see the real people behind the pictures, and I think Sarah's excited about that too. So let's get Mia on here.
Yes.
We're bringing her in. How's it going, Mia?
Oh, my heart just exploded, Mia.
Hi, Jeff.
How are you?
I am doing so well. It's a little rainy today, but it's not dampening my spirits. I'm really happy to be here.
Good. That's awesome. Why don't you tell us a little bit about just kind of who you are and how you got involved in the project?
Of course. So I'm 18, so that means I just graduated high school. So I was in my senior year when this all happened, and my favorite teacher, Mark Horner, approached me, and he said, I have the opportunity of a lifetime for you. He had connected with Jeff at a teacher conference of sorts. I'm not aware of the details entirely, but I got into contact with Jeff immediately, sent him an email with some of my work, and Jeff said, I want you. And the rest is history.
So tell us a little bit about your story, Mia, and then maybe I'll read your vignette for people. But I'd love for people to, you're an advocate for a subgroup that's been marginalized, and I'm so blessed for your courage and strength. So share a little bit about that.
Of course. I knew from a very young age that something was different about me, but I didn't really have the language because I was a child, and you don't really tell a child what a lesbian is or what a bisexual woman is. And so it wasn't until I got to middle school, kids love to talk, kids love to spread rumors, that I really found a language, but it was very negative. And so it made me feel like being a lesbian was something that was wrong. I come from a very small town. Like I said, people love to talk, but it was really through finding myself and soul searching that I realized that it was okay to be gay and that lots of people are gay. And so I'm really, really happy and pleased that this will be on the shelves for so many people to read, and they can really find the humanity in something like this. So
you're kind of making me weepy.
I know this whole time is making me weepy.
I've never really heard you talk about that perspective, and it makes me so proud to partner with you on this journey, because hopefully this just opens the door for more conversations to empower our young, non-binary boy, girls, whoever it is, just to be themselves. That's amazing.
Precisely. That's one of the things that I keep saying life, but I'm struggling to find words. But the LGBT community is so vast and it's so beautiful. I have friends who are non-binary, I have friends who are trans, and representation does matter. But just because you're putting a gay person on screen or you're putting a lesbian in a book doesn't mean that that representation is good at all. And so we need to have good representation, and we need to call people out, sort of like how you were saying, just loving somebody isn't enough.
Mhm.
You have to be intentional. And so intentional with our representation.
Love that. So
Yeah.
Melody, do we have a minute? Can I read, Miss Mia?
Yeah, I wanted to just.
I just called you Melody.
Yeah, that's okay. I knew what you meant. We both have M's. I got it. But Mia, I just wanted to ask one more question before. I was just finding the page that I need to for your piece. How can we be, like, just in general? Can you give us something? How can we be better advocates?
Yes.
The best way that you can be a better advocate, from my experience, is to just listen. If somebody from a marginalized community tells you that this is a struggle that I'm facing, listen to them. It's very easy to, when somebody comes at you, to get very defensive and up in arms because you feel like you're culpable. But when somebody is trying to explain their experience, they're not blaming it on you. They just want you to listen and have that conversation. And from those conversations, we can diminish anything that is negative, really. So to just listen, that's all we need.
Thank you. All right, Mr. Kubiak, are you ready for that piece?
Oh man, I'm just, she's
I know.
killing me. I just, yeah. So Brianna was only given a photograph of Mia and went back and just, this was great. And
My legs aren't that long in person. I have to be honest.
Let me read. Hello, it's me. I am in your class and I love to smile. I want to run. I want to play. I'm just like you, but I'm a girl who doesn't like boys. It's not like I chose this. I'm still just a kid. People say I'm weird and call me names, all because of who I like. I love playing guitar and writing for the school paper. Will you be my friend? After all, it's just me. Mia Walsh is studying journalism at Ohio University. When not writing, she can be found reading in her backyard hammock with her dog, Rowdy. And Mia would like to thank her family and Mark Horner, who was her amazing teacher. So that's just a little taste of one of the vignettes. And
one of the things I think that struck me about your vignette, Mia, when I read it was that in the image of you looks very like an older teenager, but when you talk about it, and when you just talked right now, in the beginning it says, I want to run and I want to play. And you said, I always knew I was a little bit different. It makes it sound like you knew that for a long time. And when I'm not going to lie, when I was growing up, when I was in middle school, being gay was looked at as a choice. Like you chose, it wasn't biological.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't anything
Right.
like that. And I guess that I hadn't put a lot of thought into our students who are in elementary school feeling this way. And so I loved that your vignette brought a spotlight to the fact that, although they may start having stronger feelings in middle school, because that's when, you start to like, like girls, like boys, whatever, it was something that was known earlier than that. And I really loved that spotlight of kind of highlighting that fact.
Mm-hmm.
Mia, could you share real quick just with some people, and I'll push this out, but if they want to, follow you, get in touch, like on Twitter and Instagram, where can they find Mia Walsh?
Of course, all of my social medias are exactly the same. So if you type in just my name, Mia, AW 51, because 51 is the year the New York Times was established.
Journalism.
So just MIAAW 51 on all socials.
How's your first quarter at Ohio U going, or semester?
It's going great. I'm not sure if you guys have seen. I joined the speech and debate team. They gave me a lovely mug. So doing great. Thank you for asking.
Oh, that's great.
All right. Well, that's amazing, Mia. I certainly hope this is not the last I see of you. I'm going to make sure that I follow you on all the things because I think that you're amazing, and I can't wait to see all of the amazing things that you do. So I'm so happy to have met you, and thank you so much for being a part of the project.
Of course.
Thank you so much, Mia.
All right. Thank
Sending you
you,
so
Mia.
much love, my friend. I'll talk to you soon.
Talk to you soon.
Okay. Bye-bye. Oh my gosh. Is she not amazing,
I
Mandy?
love her too. I'm going to get off and just like ugly cry. What? I was not expecting this today.
Oh my goodness. I was weird listening to her like that. It really struck me. That was great.
I need like some sort of like Laffy Taffy jokes in between these or something.
Oh my goodness.
All right. Yes, absolutely love her. So we're going to go back to some of the questions that we have for you. As I can see that you have another person waiting to knock at your door.
Oh, fun.
So let's see. How did you how do you see It's Me being used in schools?
Great question. I thought earlier too, when we were talking about the conversation started, I think it can be a safe book for kids to read, right? And kind of, I identify with that character.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. That's really cool that they can talk about it. And it's a safe way. Hey, this is a book. This is who we are. And you know what? We have to see each other. And so mental health clinicians, school psychologists, kindness groups, counselors, and teachers. And one of my favorite people in the world is a gentleman named Hans Apple, and he's got a podcast and a book, and he does some really amazing things to empower youth. He does a youth empowered podcast, and he was saying, there's so many ways to use this: conversations, book reads, book groups, and just like, wow, you know what? It's okay to talk about that. And wow, that boy is in a wheelchair. Let's not just say, oh, there's the wheelchair guy. It's like, you know what? Look at these cool qualities, right? And just because this person, their legs might not work the same, or their brains are a little bit different, or, whatever it is, hey, that's pretty cool. And look at all the things you do in spite of it or because of it too, right? So,
right. Yeah, and I that's that's such a good point. And there's so many things to celebrate about just who people are in general and the amazing things that they do. And we definitely do not do enough of that. No. And like I said, when we were at least where I grew up in Wisconsin, which don't even get me started on that, but where I grew up in Wisconsin, a lot of the marginalized groups that we have, it was a very, very different landscape than it is here now. And I think that these books are so necessary, not only for our kids, but for our teachers too. Not only as conversation starters, but as from the standpoint of, hey, teacher, you're in a wheelchair, or you're a lesbian, or you're whatever it is. That's okay. Like, it's okay now, because you might be our age when it wasn't so okay before.
Right.
And
or it's always been okay, but now it's okayer and it's out there. So, hey, you know what?
Right.
It's 2020, for the love of Jiminy Crickets. Like, it's time. It's overdue, right? Like what Desmond had mentioned, like, it's 2020. It's needed, right?
Yeah, it's needed. And like you just said, way past due. Like, way past due.
Yeah.
So,
are we giving books away by any chance?
We are at the end. At the end, we're giving books away. So don't leave us. If you're watching, don't leave us. We're giving books away. Yes. We're doing that. Okay.
Look at Desmond. It's okayer. I like that.
Yep. We're getting there. All right. So I am so excited for our next guest, because he too is in the book, which I think is so amazing. And so we are going to bring him on right now.
My man!
How are you?
How are you all doing? So good to see you all in the flesh.
Yeah,
good to see you all.
Wow. Absolutely. Wow. So what can Dr. Basil Marin, will you please tell us a little bit, not Martin. It's not Martin.
no extra tea. It's all good.
Yeah.
Let's just look at the title though, because right there that catapults him and his beautiful black skin to a 2%er. The right 2%.
That's right. That's right.
Share that with us, buddy.
Yeah. So thank you both for having me on here. I just, again, love what I heard. I'm soaking in what Mia was saying, right? And what Bree was talking about. There's two beautiful souls, and I'm just honored to be allowed to be a partner with them, right? And their story. But I am Dr. Basil Moran. I'm currently an assistant principal in Atlanta area. I am also a national speaker, also very heavily involved in the work of ASCD. But the thing that you need to know about me the most is I'm a disruptor of the status quo. And when Jeff reached out to me about the book, he was showing me pictures and kind of giving me the idea behind the book. And I'm not gonna lie, Mandy, I kind of said like, well, where do I fit in? Like, you have young man in a wheelchair, and you have our friends of the LGBTQI. I don't understand where I fit in. And so it was right after George Floyd's death. And so together we kind of crafted this space where we said, maybe I need to speak about being a Black male educator. And so what's so funny, Mandy, we'll talk about being a Black male. There's so many statistics that we learn about growing up that you don't want to be a part of, be it, incarceration, be it the judicial system. There's so many things going on that we become a statistic, right? And so I told him that's one of the lines that I didn't want to be a statistic, but that's exactly what I became in a positive way. One of the things you spoke about in being an educator, let's just be real, that education in terms of who we're serving, the teachers are 80% white female. But the students we are serving are very diverse across the nation. We could be having this conversation in Texas. We could be having this conversation in DC. We could be having this conversation in Atlanta, right? And so the thing is that Black male educators are only 2% of the whole teaching force, right? And then you think about just now, I feel fortunate to be a doctor now, and that's another 2%, a smaller window. And so we talked about, just for me, understanding that my Black skin should be seen as a strength and not a threat.
Oh, love that right there.
Right. And so I'll give you right now, my heart is so full because even as yesterday, I've been thinking about Ruby Bridges and what she went through so that I could be a student in a desegregated school. That was just 60 years ago. And so for me to be able to be an administrator in a multicultural school, not just a student, but to be a leader in one, that she moved mountains 60 years ago. And so that has just been so heavy on my heart. And as I reflect on what is my role, what is my mission in education, a word that Maya used was being intentional. We have to be intentional about what we're doing. How are we reaching kids? How are we making sure that all kids have what they need? Specifically, and word you all have been using is historically marginalized kids. What are we doing to reach those kids? Because the main word, Jeff and Mandy, is access. If a lot of times educators, teachers, administrators can be gatekeepers for why kids like myself go through a system that's not made for them.
Yeah. Hey, let me, Desmond just brought up a great thought. I don't know if you can see, but it says that 2% hasn't changed. So Doc, why do you think it hasn't changed? Where are the Black males? And, to that point too, like even some of the white males, but where are the Black males?
So to Desmond's point, I'm gonna go back to a word I just said: access. Kids are tracked from as early as second and third grade. That's when we start tested for special ed. That's when we start tested for gifted, right? And so we could be over here all night talking about that. But for me, there's an over identification of specifically minority males in special education. And if you are in special education, it's very highly unlikely that you will be tested for gifted if you have an IEP. Right. And so that school to prison pipeline, you all, is very real. So on the side of getting put into special education, on the flip side is, okay, now we have kids who are being incarcerated. We have kids who are going through a system that is not made for them. And again, I was talking to someone the other day about maybe we need de-escalation training for SROs and teachers. I see too many teachers following kids in a hallway over an earbud or a hoodie. And all of a sudden that situation escalated to that kid being in handcuffs. Yeah, because they raised their voice a little bit. So there's so much stuff going on, but it goes back to access. If kids are not given what they're needed, then they aren't able to be successful.
Yeah, and I think even, from the very, very basics of cultural understanding, and I was working in a district that, it was the Philadelphia district, and I was looking around, seeing all of these Black students and all of these white teachers. And I'm like, the disconnect there, I understand that they learn, that people can learn and all of these things, but I thought there's still a disconnect. There's still a disconnect of culturally how your family operates, of, understanding the, just some of the, differences in the way that people learn and all of that kind of stuff. And if there's only 2%, how do we even begin to address that? And I just
speak to that though. That's addressing the systemic, the system that's systemic, right? Let's go back to again Ruby Bridges. That's what's heavy on my heart right now. The hatred that she faced walking into school. She had to be escorted by marshals. They were calling her every name in the book, throwing stuff at her. I mean, you all have to realize that stuff is still happening, but it's subtle. Right. I have to share a story with you really, really briefly about me being a junior in high school, because we just heard from 2 high school students, right? Junior in high school, and my mentor, both of my parents are from the country of Belize, so they're not from America. And my mentor asked me about taking the SAT, me going to college. I said, okay, let's start to get that ball rolling, right? She asked me how I taken the SAT. I said no. She said, go get the waiver from your counselor so we can have the SAT paid for and we can start studying. I said, yes, ma'am. So the next day I went to the counseling office. I got my pass. I came back at lunchtime. I go to my counselor's office and we're having small talk. How are things doing? I'm like, I'm great. Hey, I came to you to get a SAT waiver. She kind of just looked at me. And I said, yeah, I'm coming to get the SAT waiver. And so as she's going into her desk to get the SAT waiver, as she's handing it to me, you all, she says, Basil, I just want you to know that I have a good friend in Northern Virginia that makes 6 figures as a manager at McDonald's. So kids who are not going to college don't have to fill his paperwork out.
Wow.
Let that sink in your spirit. I came in asking for the paper. I wasn't fumbling and bumbling. I knew exactly what I wanted. And there's a spectrum of kids. There are kids who know what they want because they were brought up that way. They have access to everything. Their parents grew up in this system. You have kids like me who were like 50% in the middle that my parents maybe didn't have that, but they put me around people who did. And then you have kids who have no clue. If you're from the 50% to no clue, the system is not made for you.
Right. Because I was going to say, so what if you were fumbling and bumbling? So what if that was the case?
Then she wouldn't have gave it to me.
Right. And maybe that was just because, I mean, that could be a whole host of things. That can be anxiety. That can be, mean, introversion, of the fumbling and bumbling piece of it. And you're going to tell a kid that they can make 6 figures at McDonald's, and you can, and there's nothing wrong with working at McDonald's. Let's put that out there right now.
So, yes, absolutely. I don't want to discredit that. Many kids who have trades, and I believe them. I mean, I'm a special ed teacher at heart, so I believe in vocational training. My point is that I came to access that, right? And it was almost not given to me. And so the word I use when we talk about access is educators can also be gatekeepers for why certain kids can't have certain things.
Yes.
Right. When we look at higher level classes in terms of like honors classes, AP classes, a lot of times I can do a tour around the nation. I can tell you exactly what a special ed classroom looks like, a general ed classroom, as well as honors level. I can just tell you. Yeah. Because when we look at honors level classes, it's very minuscule that you'll see minority students. You just don't see them. Right. And so going back to the original question, Mandy, how do we change this system is by us being a beacon of light. And reason why I became an administrator, the reason why I'm an educator in this work is I choose to be a role model. And it is a heavy burden to bear, right? To be a role model and to say, listen, I know many of the students I have at my school, I know you might not have a positive male role model, so I'll be that for you, right? And it's a burden that I don't take lightly because a lot of these students need that. And if they don't have it at home, they're going to the streets to look for it. That's why many minority males are looking to gangs and why they're trying to join other different things because they're trying to belong to something. And so so as teachers, we have to get back to the basics of that Maslow before Bloom. SEL, hear me well, SEL does not have an age limit, right? And so even with this book, we're talking about SEL for our kids, but also for our teachers, for our administrators, and giving them what they need, because they also need to be held up right now in terms of the times of COVID. But my heart is just so full, you all, about this book. This book is going to change the world, going to change the way people look at different things, and not seeing things that were seen before as a deficit, but celebrating it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. I could talk to you all day. Can we just do another one of these, just like us three, and just talk? Because all day.
Just write another book, and I'll be here. I might write a book, and Jeff can be in my book. I don't know.
Yeah, we'll wait for your book, big guy. I want your book.
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
All right. Well, you have been amazing. It's just such a pleasure to talk to you.
The cover man.
Actually, do you want to read his part, Jeff?
Is that cool, Doc?
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
I would love to
Go
hear
ahead.
it.
Yep.
You might have me balling on the screen, but
All right. So once again, Brianna captured Basil so eloquently. It's me. Yes, I am a black male. Does my skin scare you? Do you see me as a threat? If you get to know me, you will learn that I'm a big teddy bear and I love music and sports. I oftentimes ponder, will I ever be enough? Why do I have to work twice as hard to be seen and recognized? I do not want to be seen or viewed as a statistic. However, I am a part of the 2% of educators who are black men. I am a part of the 2% of all individuals who hold a doctoral degree. I am a human, and I want to use my black skin to make a positive difference in the world. My skin is not a threat. It is a strength. Dr. Basil Marin. Wow, dude, I got goosebumps.
Wow.
Whew.
You are an amazing statistic, my friend.
Thank you.
You are awesome. I adore you, and thank you so much for being on and making time for us on a Sunday. We really do appreciate that. And yeah.
Thank you both for what you do. And Jeff, thank you so much.
My pleasure.
Next soon, brother.
I'm blessed, buddy. We'll talk soon.
Absolutely.
Have a great day.
All right.
Oh, he's amazing, isn't he?
Oh my gosh. I can't listen to you read those things anymore.
Yeah, it's
ridiculous. Every time.
I've never read them out loud. It's chilling to me.
It's
really
powerful
cool.
for sure.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Okay. So I want to get to one of the your last questions here before we bring your next guest on. And so what age range is It's Me geared towards?
Well, that's great. I think that goes back to our risk, right? And I think eventually everyone. Right now, I would look at upper elementary, especially middle and high school, of course, adults. But you think, it's okay to start talking about Muslim Americans and lesbian, gay, bi, trans people, and how to see people. So I definitely upper elementary. Once kids start to, I think if your kids are more exposed to things, grade 4 and up or whatever. But to me, you're not too young. I think it's such an important facet that all of the inclusiveness here should be part of our language and conversation with our children, right?
Right. Yeah, absolutely. And I think too, I had done a teacher's aid episode one time which is the social emotional support podcast that I do with John Harper. And we had discussed, how young is too young to talk about race was sort of the premise of the show. And of course there is no too young. Like it is something that we should be discussing, and it should be an open part of our conversations. And
especially, I think, Mandy, especially important for us as white educators, right? I think it's even more important for us to have those early conversations that, it goes back to Martin Luther, don't judge me by the color of my skin, right? And so it has to be part of your family dynamic. Right. And I think that's where I was going. It needs to be a part of like the family, like it starts right away, not just in schools, but it needs to start before that. So I think I would hope that
this book could be for all ages. And like that would be your best case, right?
I do too.
Yeah. But I agree. You may need to start upper elementary and kind of work. It's not that it's inappropriate for anybody.
No,
it's that we need to work these conversations in.
Yeah. You know, let's not be safe. Let's take a risk.
Mm-hmm.
Let's read this to the first grade kid and have the conversation with your second grade student, because you know what? You have a second grade student in there that might identify or look like a male, but maybe is wearing jewelry, right? Or wears their hair really long, or, you know, the second language kid. And so have those conversations, have them.
Right.
You know? So yeah, that's fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay.
I'm with you, Desmond.
I know I've been doing this thing all day. So, all right. So we're going to bring in, I'm a huge fan of this person. I'm super, super excited that he's here. And so we're going to bring in Dr. Tony to talk to us. Hi.
How are you?
Good. How are you?
Hey, buddy.
How you all doing? Hi, what's up, Jeff? How are you?
Doing well. Thanks for being here, Doc.
Thank you. Please, thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here. How's everyone doing?
Great.
Good. So thank you for making time for us on a Sunday. I know that it's, weekend and all those things, but we appreciate you.
Sundays are not as important anymore because I'm a Jets fan. And so not really much to look forward to.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, it's okay. It's all right.
Sorry.
That's what happens when you're a Mets fan, a Jets fan. You kind of get accustomed to disappointment, like ongoing. And it's okay. It's all perseverance. I don't know. Great. I'm developing something.
If it makes you feel any better, my son is a Browns fan.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Then you
That make you feel better? Yeah. Yeah. When people are really feeling bad about their football team, I'll usually throw that out there. And then everybody's like, oh, yeah, the Browns are a team. That's right. So
yeah, the Browns have a couple W's, though, this year.
Yeah, they do.
I know. It's 2020. Anything can happen.
Yeah.
Like it's
I love it. That's amazing.
Legitimately. All right.
I'm excited to be here with you all today.
So Tony, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Sure. So I'm 46. No, I'm kidding.
I like long walks on the beach.
Park. No. I am a dad. I am someone's husband, partner. I am an educator. And I am the proud son of immigrants from Greece. And I've been in education for 24 years. And I am currently the assistant superintendent for human resources and leadership development in Chappaqua, which is in northern Westchester, right outside of New York City. And I've been here this is my third year there. And during my 24 years, I've taught elementary school. I've been an elementary school principal. And then I've done some work at the district level, superintendency and curriculum, and now HR. So yeah, I'm excited to be here.
Wow, very cool. I've done work out in Westchester. That's a beautiful area.
Yeah, it's nice. It is definitely nice. It's the foliage, or the leaves are gorgeous right about now, although they're coming down. But it makes for a beautiful view. I like to run early in the morning before the day gets started, mainly so that I can eat like ice cream and Oreos. But just as the sun is coming up to see like the red leaves and the orange leaves, it's like very therapeutic for me, at least. It kind of clears my head and resets me to get ready for the day. So yeah, that's me in a nutshell.
Yeah, beautiful area. So tell us a little bit about, have you gotten a chance to read the book?
Yeah, absolutely. I was very honored that Jeff shared it with me. I had the opportunity to read it several times, actually. It resonated with me for so many reasons. I shared this with Jeff when we spoke recently. Personally, it resonated with me because I really appreciate that it centered an LGBT individual and shared her story. I think that's something that's so often lacking in texts and even in television and movies. And when we are depicted, we're often depicted in such a stereotypical way. The gay boy or man being, super flamboyant, or the gay young lady being, I don't know, manly, or whatever the stereotypical depictions often are. To see depiction of Mia specifically in this piece really just resonated with me because it was so human, right? It was just a human being who happens to identify in this way, who happens to love someone who shares the same gender, doesn't define her, but is a part of who she is. And so I really appreciated that. And the all the stories really resonated with me, but the story of the young boy in the wheelchair, knowing that he has, some physical limitations, but again, they don't define him. And so my son has had some physical challenges since he was born. And while they have limited him in some ways, they certainly don't define him, and they're not what he's all about. And so I just appreciated that even for him, there was someone he could see in a text, right? Which doesn't often happen, right? And so, yeah, I love it. I love all of it. I mean, just centering mental health issues, which we often shy away from, centering people of color in a way that tells their story authentically, because we know representation matters. It resonated on so many levels and for so many reasons. So, yeah.
Yeah, that is awesome. And I love how you said, just shows her as a human, because we're so quick to call people anything else but that, we're so quick to put those labels on when the, kind of our foundation is just being human, and why those things can't be celebrated instead of made to look like it's something we need to shy away from or not talk about, and of course I appreciate the mental health piece in that book as well, just from all the talking I do about mental health and how important it is to destigmatize that and recognize that almost everybody deals with some sort of mental health issue or is impacted by somebody who deals with a mental health issue, and yet another thing that we have failed to talk about and not recognize. So I appreciate that as well.
Yeah, it's one of those things that I think has, it permeates our world, right? And I agree with what you're saying. I think everyone struggles with their mental health, right? No matter whether it's a result of what's going on in the world around you or something, biochemical, biological, or psychological. It's something we all struggle with. I know I've struggled with depression, but I also recognize that our mental health is also impacted by our identity, right? In the way that we see ourselves and the way others see us. And relationships are a big part of mental health as well. And, so I was thinking a lot about that as I was reading the text, and just, so as someone who does identify as a gay man, for me, that's something I'm kind of always thinking about, because I live in a very heteronormed world, right? And so when someone asks me about myself, I will often either bring up my partner or identify in that way, because it's so important to me, because it's not the norm, right? I mean, I'm sure being heterosexual is also important to folks, but the world is centered around the hetero, experience. But on the other hand, as a white male, I realize there's so many things I don't have to think about that I don't even consider on a daily basis, because the world is also centered around my whiteness, right? And so just so many aspects of this text, I think, stood out because it illuminated those stories that are often not heard, right? And when they're heard, they're depicted either in a deficit way, or they're depicted in a stereotypical way. And so I appreciated that, Jeff was able to just amplify the voices, the authentic voices of folks in across the country. So
thank you, Tony. I wanted to ask real quick, how do you see this book fit into schools? Because you work in a district that's very different than where your son goes to school. So kind of talk maybe about the two really quick.
Yeah, no, listen, I think it's what I appreciate about the text is I think it's a text that you can use with kids as young as kindergarten, and I think you can explore with adults, right? And just I think about working with educators and some of the work that we do when we're trying to enhance our instruction or think about new resources we can use. This is a text I think you can use for professional development with adults when they think about what resources they want to integrate in their classrooms. And so, yeah, I work in a predominantly white community, right? And so, and a pretty affluent community as well, wonderful community, but there's a lot of privilege, there's a lot of access, there's a lot of capital. And my son goes to a really diverse high school in New York City with over 4,000 students in the school, which is kind of crazy. And he sees all, just so many different people coming from so many different corners of the community, and which I think is wonderful, right? Because he's just exposed and aware of so much more than even I was when I was younger in the school that I went to. So I think it's something that just kind of bridges that disconnect. There's different experiences, and I realize that, where you live and where you go to school shapes who you are. And so if you're in a space that's predominantly one thing, whether it's, predominantly white or predominantly affluent or where, then being able to see the stories of others is really important, right? Because then it's a whole notion of windows and mirrors, right? So whether you can see yourself in a text or you can see someone else in a text, it's understanding, it's appreciation, it's respect, it's empathy, right? And those things are all really critical, I think. So, yeah.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Yeah, that feeling of belonging is one of the, that disconnection from feeling of belonging is one of the main triggers for mental health issues, right? Like we have a primal need to belong to a group. And that's a very inherent of part of being a human. And if we feel like we're alone, and again, going back to like me talking about the mental health issues, that's what started that, was feeling like I was alone and connecting with one other person that when I told her, she's like, oh, me too. And I'm like, what?
Yeah.
I'm not alone. And then when I started talking about it and people started coming up to me and saying, oh my gosh, I thought I was alone. And that was the moment that I was like, oh no, this can't continue. This needs to stop. And so I think when we talk about people not feeling like they belong, that's one of the pieces that I think is the most important part of this book. Is making sure that somebody else sees, nope, there's somebody else and they're just like you. I think it's a really powerful point. And as I'm listening to you speak, I'm thinking also not only about our students, which is most definitely our primary focus, and making sure that every kid is touched in some way, right, connected in some way, and whether they're on the fringe of something or they're really centered around something, but being connected. I also think about the adults. I think about educators and how often I have met educators who struggle with mental health issues and sort of go at it alone, right? Because they feel like they have to be on all day, or they feel like they can't reveal that they're struggling with a mental health issue because they might be, judged by it. And so that's a significant challenge. And when I think about what we're living through right now, in a global pandemic that really is about life or death, and yet you have to go in every day and do your thing, and it's tough. And so I think a lot about the mental health piece as it relates to the adults in our organizations, in our schools, and in our districts, because it's such a difficult time. So I appreciate that focus being a part of the text to norm it. Like there's nothing wrong with having a mental health issue, right? So. Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah, absolutely. I want to continue talking to you, Tony. Like we should have made it, Jeff, we should have made your show 2 hours long, because I could have.
I know. I just want to sit here and listen to Tony and people.
I know.
Love it.
You need more friends. No,
I'm blessed. Come on.
Like I said, I'm honored and grateful to be here. I feel really privileged to have read the book, before it came out, and just to be able to, call you someone I know and a friend who I can learn from, and who makes my world better by contributing, stories like this. And I think that's ultimately one of the things that people don't realize about the connection through social media that often gets lost, is like I wouldn't know about I may have known about the book, right? But I may not have known you, and may not have known the story behind it. And these connections are, for me at least, have been, life-saving at points, like helped me professionally and personally.
Right back at you. Right. Life-altering in the best way for me. And I appreciate you saying that. And that's great. I feel the same.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Tony, again, for taking time today to be with us and to have this discussion. We really appreciate you.
Pleasure. My pleasure.
My best to your family, Tony. Have a great rest of your day.
Thank you all both.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, buddy. Oh my gosh, that was awesome.
Okay, very cool. All right. So we only have 1 minute, and we're going to pick your winners for your books. So we'll give away 2 books. And what I do is I just run through the comments and I stop on one, and then that's one of your winners, and then another comment, and that's one of your winners.
Can we give away 3?
We can give away 3 if you would like.
Yes, I want to give away 3.
You want to give away 3? Okay.
Yes.
So I will do that then 3 times, and they can contact you if they've won, and then you will send them a signed copy of the book. So
Yes.
very cool.
Be awesome.
All right, so here we go.
Woo!
All right, I can't look. Okay, Crystal
Apollo.
Apollo.
Yep. Crystal in the house.
Crystal, so you are one winner of this, and we will, let's see.
Crystal, you have my contact info anyway, so reach out, girl. You got yourself a book.
We'll get you a book. Okay, so let's see who else. We have Desmond Hasty.
Desmond!
He's a fan favorite. He's on these things all the time. So
Yeah, thanks for your
participation.
participation and comments, Desmond. You're amazing. So please reach out.
All right, and then let's see. We have Facebook user, so that won't work. Let's see. The Bruisers 57.
The Bruiser 57. I loved Basil's story so real. Okay, so reach out either to Mandy or myself, direct message or something like that, because I'm not sure who that is, but.
And your Twitter, if they can reach out to you on Twitter.
Yep, at Jeffrey Kubiak. And then my amazing wife, just so you guys know, has spent a lot of time updating the website. So jeffkubiak.com is live and updated and has all sorts of different resources to go to. So.
Okay, I'm going to put that up so that people can find that as well. So if you are one of the winners, you can contact Jeff at jeffkubiak.com. And he can get you one of the amazing, super amazing It's Me books. I highly recommend that you also go on to Amazon. If you didn't win today, you may want to pick up an It's Me book there. You can also check out Jeff's One Drop of Kindness book, which is also a fan favorite from EduMatch if you want to check that out. Also, not many people know that EduMatch Publishing does give a discount at only 10 books. And so if you happen to have 10 classrooms that would enjoy It's Me or One Drop of Kindness, you can email Sarah Thomas at edumatchbooks@edumatchers.org, and you will get a discount on the books from a discount on the Amazon price. So you can do that if you're interested. And Jeff, it has been an absolute pleasure, my friend, doing your launch today. Congratulations again.
Thank you, Mandy, and thank you, Sarah, both of you for believing in me and helping me spread amazing positive messages. I love you both, and I'm really blessed and grateful. Thank you.
Well, thank you for having the amazing positive messages. We just give you the platform. The ideas are all you, my friend. So, all right, thanks everybody for being on and spending the hour with us, and have a fantastic Sunday.
Thank you, everyone. Take care.